Hello, WDSO listeners. This is Mrs. Euling, and I'd like to present to you CHS's This I Believe essays, written by freshmen in my English 9 honors class. 4 essays were chosen for this radio program based on the uniqueness of the subject matter and the phenomenal quality of the writing. The students who will be reading their essays are Eric Sparks, Sophia Portugal, Milena Veltri, and Josie Leibovich. Please enjoy, and thank you for listening.
Imagine that you were in the middle of a soccer field, thousands of miles from home, with people surrounding you speaking a language you don't even understand. I have been in this situation. Surprisingly, I was not scared and did not even feel uncomfortable or out of place. The misty rain was coming down, and I felt like I had played soccer with this team and at this place many times before. All around the world, hundreds of different languages are spoken, wars are being fought, mountains, oceans, cultures, and many other things divide us to this day. Although we may not realize it, something very simple, something that you would overlook, connects the world. You may think it is an art, belief in an idea, or a language, but soccer connects the world. Unlike anything else in the world, soccer is played in almost all countries. Soccer can even break barriers such as language, religion, and culture. I have experienced soccer bringing people together and breaking barriers. About 3 years ago, my family went on a trip to Costa Rica over the summer. After leaving San Jose, the capital, we decided to go to a small beach town called Montezuma. As soon as we got there, we left for the beach and stayed all day. On the way back from the beach, we found a local soccer field off the road. I decided to go shoot around for a little bit. It turned out there was a game about to happen, so my dad and I decided to stay and watch. At halftime of the first game, I went out into the field and shot the ball over the goal into the forest. I crawled underneath the fence and 4 soccer players were sitting around eating rice and beans. A player from the visiting team walked up to me and handed me a jersey and a plate of rice and beans. I was kind of surprised, so I didn't really know what to do. He then talked to my dad, asking if I wanted to play. I put the uniform on and walked over to the team warming up. They all started speaking very fast, accented Spanish, and I had no clue what they were saying. I ended up playing the whole 90-minute game, and it was one of the best moments of my life. My team won 4-0, and the coach invited me to play in a tournament in the capital with them the next week, but I had to leave to a different part of the country. I got through playing a whole game of soccer with people I didn't know or even speak their language, and it did not even matter. Soccer completely broke a language and cultural barrier that day. Throughout the rest of the trip, I had experiences like that. On the beach, my brother and I would always find new friends to play soccer with for hours at a time. We never knew what each other were saying, but soccer did it for us. On every family trip after that, I'd bring my soccer ball, and my brother and I would start a pickup game with anyone that wanted to play. I have now played with Costa Ricans, French Canadians, Jamaicans, and Spanish people. I met all these people from just wanting to play soccer. Soccer has made traveling so much better of an experience. You do not need to know what someone's saying if you are playing soccer with them. I believe that soccer is the world's language and helps connect everyone.
It opens the lungs, washes the countenance, exercises the eyes, and softens down the temper. So cry away. In Charles Dickens' popular novel Oliver Twist, the character Mr. Bumble said those insightful words about the importance of crying. I believe that crying is the most therapeutic remedy to deal with overwhelming emotions. I have realized that after I've had a good cry, all my suppressed feelings of anger, resentment, or sorrow are released. I feel a sense of recovery as a result of my tears that fall freely and without shame. I am a notorious procrastinator, and my time management skills are practically non-existent, so staying up late to finish homework or to study is a frequent occurrence for me. From my personal experiences, my procrastination causes me the most stress, yet I continue to do it. For example, in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I had to write a research paper each year. For all 3 years, I waited the night before to finish the paper. From what I can recall, I cried each year because of the stress caused by these last-minute assignments. But after I cried, I instantly felt better. I let out all of my worries in the form of tears. I was able to finish the papers on time, and eventually everything was okay. My high school experience has been rough. The classes have been difficult, and the homework load has been extremely overwhelming. Now I know high school is supposed to be challenging, but by the second week I wanted to drop out. My hatred for high school just caused me to procrastinate even more. My procrastination is a repetitive cycle where I become overwhelmed, cry, and then finish my assignment in a hurry. This system is neither efficient nor practical. However, I eventually finish my work and the wave of emotions passes. Although the majority of my tears are caused by school-related issues, I also cry because I'm anxious or scared of crowds or public speaking. I cry out of anger and frustration when I'm not pleased with my academic performance. I cry because of sorrow and grief. I cry more now than I did in kindergarten. But from my personal experiences, the more I cry, the less I worry. It's as if my tears of distress are what give me the courage to do what terrifies me. My tears allow me to move forward and to get through all of the obstacles in my life.
Throughout my life, my mom has always told me the same thing. Food is fuel. You just need to eat to eat. Everything doesn't have to taste good, but you have to eat it anyways, because food is our fuel, like gas to a car. And while I don't dispute that food is our fuel, I have always felt that it is more than that it is more than just something we need to survive. I believe in the power of food. I believe in its ability to connect us with our culture and family, and make us feel happy and loved. Now, I can't remember everything that I have loved to eat, or all my favorite dishes at restaurants. However, I can vividly remember the first time I ever ate lasagna. When I was 10 years old, I used to take acting classes in Chicago every Saturday. My dad would take me into the city, and I would spend 2 long hours in an acting class full of people that were strangers to me. One Saturday, my dad decided, on a whim, to take me to a restaurant neither of us had ever been to, in hopes of finding some superb Italian cooking. When we arrived at the restaurant, I had a difficult time figuring out what it is I wanted to eat. I have always been a picky eater, so when looking at this menu full of foods I had never tried or even heard of before, I was in a panic. I asked my dad what I should choose, and he suggested that I try the lasagna. At a loss for a better option, I decided to take a gamble and try this foreign dish. When it arrived, I immediately knew I was going to like it. It smelled of cheese and tomatoes, a scent that reminded me of what my mom would prepare at home. A mere 2 seconds after it was placed in front of me, I had already taken my first bite. The flavors danced across my tongue as I tasted a culinary masterpiece. From that moment on, I was hooked on not only lasagna, but food and Italian cooking as well. I've had an extreme interest ever since in Italian food that has impacted almost every day of my life. Since my dad's family is from Italy, learning about Italian food has helped me connect to my culture and family. When I visit them, we compose Italian dishes and pastries that my family has made for generations. On my dad's side of the family, the one that is Italian, food is love. We express our love for one another through pasta and ladylocks and long hours slaving in the kitchen. When visiting each other's homes, we experience the love emanating from each and every dish, side, dressing, and sauce. With every sniff, bite, taste, and smell, we can all feel the love bursting from our food into our mouths. Food is a representation of happiness. When eating an exquisite meal, I am overwhelmed with feelings of pleasure and joy. To me, there is no happier feeling, or one quite so similar to it, than eating a bowl of pasta and munching on focaccia bread. Exceptional food is capable of turning a sad or stressed mood that I may be experiencing into one that is jovial and light. Though others, such as my mom, choose to believe food is nothing more than a necessity, I choose to believe that food is important in more than one aspect of life. I believe that great food can cause happiness, and that food can be a way people present and reciprocate love.
Have you ever read a book so often you feel you could sniff out the hardcover copies blindfolded in a windowless room? I have. Harry Potter has been a part of my life ever since I can remember, in every form it appears: books, movies, and audiobooks. I've been learning from it since I first watched it. I believe in Harry Potter's ability to educate, to address issues, and to help raise young minds to be thoughtful from an earlier age. My first encounter with the series was no doubt with one of the movies, I can't remember, but watching them rapidly progress to the repetitive playing of the audiobooks in my siblings' shared room, getting up at midnight to change the disc when it ended. Up until the age of 9 or so, I was a walking, talking Harry Potter encyclopedia. Don't get me wrong, I still am, but back then I would have my sister and parents quiz me in the car, complaining when the questions were too easy, and registered this love as not much more than a passion that made my conservative relatives uncomfortable. I've never gone more than a year and a half without interacting with the text in some way, whether it be listening to it on my iPod or comparing fanfiction to the original. It was routine for me to be blathering on about something and use a word that I had learned from the series, and have my parents, mainly my dad, stop me and ask me where I had learned it from. The normal reply was something along the lines of, Uncle Vernon said it in Goblet of Fire, or I think it was in Deathly Hallows somewhere. Words and terms I have learned this way include, but are not limited to, pestilential, nocturnal, naval, and Adam's apple. I can't remember another book or collection that I have learned more from, aside from the actual reading book my dad taught me with. The series also offers endless scenarios that translate nicely to the factual world if you just give them a little thought. It can teach about child neglect, love, the value of life, the inevitability and approachability of death, poverty, bravery, modern-day politics, the way media responds to famous people, and the list goes on and on. Because of Harry Potter, I believe in the value of a good education beyond just test scores and college applications. Just look at Hermione Granger, an A-plus role model right there, showing in every book that paying attention to what you are taught is never a bad thing and often a leg up. I've always believed from a young age that there are evil things and people in the world, and have seldom been surprised by the two-sided nature of humans. I also have never doubted that reputation is not everything, as demonstrated by Lupin and his reputation of being a feral and dangerous creature as a werewolf. In reality, he is one of the most calming and respectable presences in the book, leaving his own lessons about the importance of facing fears and being brave. Luna Lovegood, who is the school oddball and is often ridiculed and avoided, is actually a quirky but sweet, caring girl who has too little filter and too much insight. Draco Malfoy, who is among the school's most popular students, but is a nasty parasite of a boy who feeds off fear, bribery, and hurt to climb his way up the social ladder. Again, this list could go on and on. I believe this has helped me with so many social situations. It has helped me get out of so many bad friendships and brush off the dust, recognizing it as a bad investment. It has led me to so many friendships, as one of my core beliefs is that you should never reject a person simply because they are different. I believe if you give it a chance, Harry Potter has an example for nearly everything. Racial tension, political strife, war, pain, death, teenage romance, good teachers, bad teachers, secrets, depression, anger. I believe that under the combined pressure of the books and my parents' guidance, I have been molded into the thoughtful, understanding, and weird human I am today.